and establish a foundation for lasting peace. First resolution, which the Security Council is now considering, calls for a stop of all hostilities. Under its terms, Hezbollah will be required to immediately stop all attacks. Israel will be required to immediately stop all offensive military operations. And in addition, the resolution calls for an embargo on the shipment of any arms into Lebanon, except as authorized by the Lebanese government. A second resolution, which the Security Council will begin working on as soon as possible, will help establish a sustainable and enduring ceasefire and provide a mandate for a robust international force that will help the legitimate government of Lebanon extend its authority over all of Lebanon's territory. Under this second resolution, the Lebanese armed forces, supported by the international force, will deploy to southern Lebanon. This international force will help Lebanon patrol its border with Syria and prevent illegal arms shipments to Hezbollah. As these Lebanese and international forces deploy, the Israeli Defense Forces will withdraw, and both Israel and Lebanon will respect the blue line that divides them. These two resolutions are designed to bring an immediate end to the fighting, to help restore sovereignty over Lebanese soil to Lebanese democratic government, to Lebanon's democratic government, to strike a blow against the terrorists and their supporters, and to help bring lasting peace to the region. By taking these steps, it will prevent armed militias like Hezbollah and its Iranian and Syrian sponsors from sparking another crisis. It will protect innocent Lebanese and Israelis. And it will help the international community deliver humanitarian relief and support Lebanon's revival and reconstruction. The loss of life on both sides of the Lebanese-Israeli border has been a great tragedy. Millions of Lebanese civilians have been caught in the crossfire of military operations because of the unprovoked attack and kidnappings by Hezbollah. The humanitarian crisis in Lebanon is of deep concern to all Americans, and alleviating it will remain a priority of my government. I also believe that innocent civilians in Israel should not have to live in bunkers in fear of missile attacks. To establish a lasting peace that protects innocent civilians on both sides of the border, we must address the underlying conditions that are the root cause of this crisis. I believe that the two resolutions I have discussed and that Secretary Rice is working on will put us on that path. And now I'll be glad to answer some questions. Nedra.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lebanon has rejected the draft proposal, and Israel is not speaking out in support of it. How do you get a resolution that both sides will support?
Everyone wants the violence to stop. People understand that there needs to be a cessation of hostilities in order for us to address the root causes of the problem. That was the spirit that came out of the G8 conference. It came out of the Rome conference that Secretary Rice attended. And we all recognize that the violence must stop. And so that's what Secretary Rice is working toward with our friends and allies. Look, I understand both parties aren't going to agree with all aspects of the resolution. But the intent of the resolutions is to strengthen the Lebanese government. So Israel has got a partner in peace. The intent of the resolution is to make sure that we address the root cause. The resolution is to address the root cause, which was a state operating within the state. Hezbollah is an armed movement that provoked the crisis. And so whatever comes out of the resolutions must address that root cause. And so the task today for the Secretary and her counterparts is to develop a resolution that can get passed. It is essential that that we create the conditions for the Lebanese government to move her own forces with international help into the south of Lebanon to prevent Hezbollah and its sponsors from creating another crisis. And so that's where we're headed, Steve.
The Lebanese Prime Minister is demanding a quick and decisive ceasefire after an Israeli air raid today killed 40 people. When will we see this resolution, and if it's approved, when will we see a cessation of violence?
I'll let Condi talk about the details of what she's going to do today, if you care to hear from her. But we will work with our partners to get the resolution laid down as quickly as possible. And the resolution will call for a cessation of violence. And the concern, by the way, from the parties in the region is whether or not the resolution will create a vacuum into which Hezbollah and its sponsors will be able to promote more instability. We all agree that we ought to strengthen this government, the Lebanese government. That's the purpose of the resolutions, as well as to stop the violence. And I don't know if you want to comment upon.
If you'd like.
Yeah.
First of all, we are working from what we believe to be a strong basis for a cessation of hostilities. That is the U.S. French draft, a strong basis for the cessation of hostilities, and then, as the President said, to have a process then that can address the root causes. And we also believe that it's going to be very important that this first resolution lay a very quick foundation for a passage of a second resolution. So these have to be worked in a sense together. I spoke last night and yesterday with Prime Minister Olmert, with Prime Minister Signor, with Secretary General Kofi Annan, with a number of others, and I think we believe that there is a way forward. Now, we understand that this has been a very emotional and indeed devastating and tragic set of circumstances for Lebanon and for Israel. And obviously, the parties have views on how to stop this. Their views are not going to necessarily be consonant about how to stop it. The international community has a view. But of course, we're going to take a little time and listen to the concerns of the parties and see how they can be addressed. But I want to just note, we believe that the extant draft resolution is a firm foundation, is the right basis, but of course we're going to listen to the concerns of the parties and see how they might be addressed. And that's really what's going to be going on today, particularly after the Arab League meets and Prime Minister Signor emerges from that.